Welcome to the best of first-person episodes from Phantoms and Monsters. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads.
Below the Superstition Mountains. I have heard of and seen reptoid beings in the area 5 miles east of Phoenix, Arizona. The Superstition Mountains have been an area of encounters and is said to have both an alien base and laboratories under it. The military also have an underground base there and interact on experiments with the aliens. About 20 years ago I encountered an individual that spent time exploring some of the old mines in the area. He had vanished for months before I ran into him again. I asked him where he had been all this time. Here is his story. He spotted a mine entrance on the west side of the main mountainside. He said that the mine looked to be in good shape, so he started walking in the shaft. He had gone about a half mile in when he saw a sign that said no entrance beyond this point. The mine shaft was still in good shape, so he went in a 100 yards. He told me that people seemed to come out of the walls of the shaft. Men in black uniforms questioned him and then took him to a holding area in Mesa, Arizona for 72 hours. They questioned him again and found out that his home was in Colorado. They gave him a plane ticket to Denver, Colorado, and told him never to come back to the Phoenix area. He asked me not to tell anyone that I had seen him. He wanted to pick up personal items that got left behind. I have never seen him after that. There are other stories of treasure hunters going into old mine shafts and finding holographic walls in the shaft. They did not try to enter the area behind the wall as they feared that they may not be able to get back out. They told me that they took a round rock and rolled it through the screen and heard it roll for some distance. One of them reached through the screen with a flashlight in his hand. He turned the flashlight back toward the screen, but could not see any light. He said that he withdrew his arm as he had the feeling that something was back there, and he didn't want it to grab his arm and drag him in. I asked the men to take me up there and show me the mine. They all said no way they were going back in there. We got a topo map out and they showed me the area that they had encountered the wall. I did go into the area to search but was never able to find the mine. This is not strange as other people have found opening and marked the entrance with a pyramid of large rocks and left to get lights and more people and equipment. When they got back, the rocks are still there as they had stacked them, but the entrance is gone. There have been sighting of reptoids about 9 feet tall in that area. As soon as they sense that they are being watched, they vanish. People have also seen lizard beings about the size of a man with bat-like wings and a tail. They fly out to opening in the cliffs at twilight and also vanish if sense that they are being watched. The Native Americans have seen these things for hundreds of years and have legends about them. They say that they are shape-shifters and can make you see them in any form they want. I found this out on a personal encounter with a reptoid I encountered on a trail. As I was walking up an inner trail in the mountains, I looked up and saw a man coming towards me on the trail. He had appeared out of thin air. As I walked toward him, I noticed his eyes. They were reptoid, vertical slits. When he sensed that I knew what he was, he hit me with a psychic blow that I can only describe as being hit in the head with a sledgehammer. It stunned me and almost drove me to my knees. As I shook this off, I looked up and he was gone. I had a headache for 2 days after that and think that he could have killed me if he wanted to. This is just some of the strange things that have been seen up there. We have seen different types of alien craft that appear to enter the main mountain, orbs and UFO. Orbs that have been seen in different area for hundreds of years that disappear at different old mines, wells, and some just enter the face of the mountains. I would love to get in touch with a well-equipped investigative group and have them check out some of the strong magnetic fields that may act as dimensional portholes where some of these creatures come and go. One day our government may tell us the truth on their involvement with alien encounters and tech that has been traded for their abduction of us. Anonymous.
Possible lizard man seen in Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana. I was driving north on Interstate 55 about a half mile south of the Route 10 overpass. This occurred last Wednesday, August 10th, around 11:15 p.m. This was in Upper Tangipahoa Parish. I was on my way home in Jackson, Mississippi. About 100 yards ahead, I saw something crossing the highway from my left to right. When my headlights lightened it up, I swear I saw a walking lizard man. It walked like a human on its feet and was greenish-brown shiny skin. The huge thick tail was prominent and reached the roadway. The body was that of a man. Same arms, legs and head. Maybe 6 feet tall. It swiftly crossed the highway. I lost track of it when I passed by. I still can't believe what I saw. I saw some stories you had on someone's website and found your telephone number. I haven't told a soul about this. Thank you for talking to me. I wish I had more to tell you, but I definitely saw what I described. The end.
Reptilian hunting party encounter. I was between 4 and 5 years of age when I had my encounter. My family and I were living in small town west end of Montrose County called Uravan, Colorado. In the early morning June of '69, I was wakened by the barking of family dog named Tippy outside my bedroom window. Tippy never really barked unless someone or something was in a yard that wasn't supposed to be. I remember waking up out dead sleep and hearing Tippy constant barking and wondering why older brother who's sleeping bunk above and my parents sleeping in the bedroom joining ours would get tell Tippy to be quit. Finally I had enough it and decided turn over in my bed and look out the window myself. When I did I couldn't believe what saw. There it was, a small circle ship with its landing gear down and hatch with stairs full down to the ground. Next to ship were green kinda lizard looking aliens. Their eyes were bright yellow and some tanks on their backs and another bag. They didn't have fingers, but kinda web hands that looked like to a bow and arrow. Their body were thin and scaly, and legs also thin. Their feet had V-shaped toes. I remember thinking to myself this was some kinda hunting party, because my dad was bow hunter himself, and that kinda gave the idea. I could tell they were searching for something, then all of a sudden another alien came of the ship. He was much bigger than the others, and seemed to give the others orders. Tippy again began her barking, and the alien closest to her house seemed to be upset with her barking. I could see it looking over at Tippy. Finally it appeared it too had a problem with Tippy barking and started walking over her. I then jumped off my bed and headed into my parents' room to wake my mother up. I remember how hard it was to wake my mother up, and she acted like she was heavy drug or something. I couldn't get her wake up. Finally was able to get her up and told something was going on outside, that it was going hurt Tippy. She's still not wake and sluggish. My mother followed me to bed. Once there I showed what I was seeing outside. I don't know what they did to my mom, but she couldn't see them. All she wanted to do is sleep. Finally my mother got up from my bed and told me crawl to other side my bed away from the window. I did what I told. The last thing remember before going to sleep was looking over in closet where window casted light on my clothes and saw the dark figure trying to look in window. No other sound came from Tippy. My mother wasn't drinking or taking anything that would cause sedation. I firmly believe they did something to family make sleep. It just didn't work on me. The morning the first I did was to run out check on Tippy in pajamas and all. Sure enough she was lying in front yard waiting for kids to come play with her. She acted like nothing happened the night before.
Reptilians and shadow beings, reality or illusion. When I was 10, I contracted hepatitis A. I was really ill, like for a month, didn't say anything to anyone. I mean, I was just a kid. Well, it progressed and by the time they caught it, I was close to death. I was all yellow, my eyes, skin, everything, and in severe pain. I was admitted to the hospital. Didn't have parents. My sister had guardianship of me. She dropped me off and I never saw her again. I was hospitalized for a month or more. I was on pain meds. My liver was inflamed and it was impossible to eat. One night I awoke because I felt a presence at the foot of my hospital bed were two little reptilian men. They were about 4 feet tall. Needless to say, I jumped out of my hospital bed tearing out my IVs, making the alarms going off at the nurse's desk. I crawled under my bed. The nurses had to coax me out. Think of it, a 10-year-old child awaking to see lizard men in their room. As fast as it occurred they were just gone. I've not spoken of this in years. Only told 2 other people in my life. There was another time in about 2006 or 2007, my husband fell asleep on the couch, so I left him and went upstairs to bed. Mind you, my room was dark, okay, really dark. I said my prayers, went to sleep. Sometime during the night I awoke to this thing sitting on top of me. I started to wrestle with this thing, and let me tell you, it was darker than my room. It was not sleep paralysis. I was awake. This thing was tangible. I could feel it. All of a sudden it was just gone, as the green lizard men. I jumped up and grabbed the cross I had hanging in my wall, laid back down, prayed, and fell back to sleep. I don't care if people believe these things happened. In fact, I've had lots of experiences with weird things. I've only been scared 2 times. The time the lizard men were in my room, and another when I awoke and felt a presence in our home, was turned facing the wall. And in my heart I knew if I turned to look there was gonna be something or someone there. Ignoring it, I fell back asleep.
Reptilian at bedroom door. Have seen a number of UFOs over the past 50 years. Have also had the misfortune to see a few of the beings that apparently go along with them. In August of 2008 I encountered a being unlike I had ever seen before. Was late in the afternoon. I was in the kitchen getting a soda when I looked up and out into the hallway. In the open bedroom door was an entity that literally made my heart skip a beat. It was a little taller than I am, looked to be a reptile of some sort, had bright yellow eyes with vertical pupils. It was wearing what appeared to be a one-piece dark blue jumpsuit. There was some kind of insignia on the lower arm. I could not take my eyes away from its eyes. It seemed to have an expression of disdain or disgust or possibly anger, hard to tell, but it did not give off a good feeling. We were maybe 8 feet apart and just continued to stare at one another. I finally lowered my head and closed my eyes, and when I looked up it was gone. Needless to say, I slept with most of the lights on that night. This was not a pleasant experience.
I mean you no harm. A few nights ago I was outside and walking around my farm where I live alone when I saw a series of lights moving across the sky. At first I thought nothing of it, but then one of the lights stopped moving and something dropped from it, like a pot or something. I freaked out and ran to my house and locked the door. Being a woman of only 35 years old, I am easy to spook. The next morning I woke up with a figure sitting at the foot of my bed. The figure was reptilian, like a lizard or something. It spoke English, but had a deep hiss in his voice. It told me this: I mean you no harm, wormling. I only seek to explore your world and its life forms. I am only a male scout in which I am looking for samples. I asked, how are you talking to me? Where did you come from? His reply, you only hear the tongue you understand, but I cannot say too much. May I take a sample from your hair? My reply, I guess, but where did you come from and what are you? He went over to me and put his hand on my head. It felt very cold and scaly. Then he plucked a strand of hair from my head and put it in some sort of cylinder. After that he told me, thank you, my overlord will be pleased. Then he just vanished. My skin turned numb where he had touched me, and I have had a cold ever since. I did not know how to feel toward this encounter. I did not feel threatened but rather curious. The reptilian was lime green, stood maybe 6 feet tall and looked muscular. He wore all black from his neck down, and had some sort of belt lined with gadgets of sorts. The face had a snout like a normal lizard, and his eyes were large and purple. What was this thing, and does it have anything to do with the lights I had seen before? Will he or any of his kind come back?
This is Lon Strickler. If you like this program, it would help us if you would give it a thumbs up. Then subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notification when we upload new first-person encounters. We have many more to come very soon. And by the way, if you have a suggestion or an experience of your own, please leave a comment.